You know that person. The moment something good starts happening, they imagine every way it could fall apart. The job offer hasn't even arrived, and they're already drafting the rejection email in their head. The relationship is going well, and they're scanning for the crack in it. The presentation's going to go fine, but they've already played the version where they freeze mid-sentence and the room goes quiet. They don't tell anyone about this. From the outside, they look composed. From the inside, they're running a full simulation of catastrophe, vivid, detailed, almost cinematic, and they can't stop it. The strange part is that it always intensifies in the last hour, not the week before, not the day before, the hour before, right before the result, right before the thing. But here's what researchers have actually found. People who catastrophize right before things work out aren't more anxious than average. They're more attached to the outcome than average. The bracing isn't fear of failure, it's fear of caring this much and being wrong. And here's the part nobody warns you about. The brain that runs this pattern learned it somewhere, usually in environments where hoping out loud was the most dangerous thing you could do. The next few minutes will explain exactly how that wiring works. The technical term for this is defensive pessimism. In plain language, your nervous system has decided something. Imagining the worst case in advance, in detail, is safer than walking into it unprepared. So, it does the work for you. It runs every collapse. It writes every bad ending. By the time the actual moment arrives, you've already grieved it 100 times in your head. This isn't a personality flaw, it's a calibration. Somewhere along the line, your system learns something. Being blindsided by disappointment costs more than rehearsing it in advance. So, it started rehearsing, constantly, quietly.
Even when nothing was wrong, especially when nothing was wrong, because nothing being wrong is exactly when the pattern feels most exposed. The first layer comes from researcher Julie Norem. Her studies on defensive pessimism found something specific. People who pre-imagine the worst aren't sabotaging themselves, they're regulating themselves. Picture the moment you're refreshing your inbox, waiting for an email. Your hands are slightly cold, you haven't eaten, you find yourself running, almost involuntarily, through what you'll say if the answer's no. Norem's research found this isn't pessimism in the everyday sense. It's a strategy your brain runs to lower the emotional stakes before they arrive. The real-world implication is that you don't actually believe things will go badly. You're trying to feel less when they do. And here's the second layer most people miss. Daniel Kahneman's work on loss aversion found something striking. The brain weighs losses roughly twice as heavily as equivalent gains. Twice. Which means the closer you get to something good, the more your system has to lose by hoping. So it does the math you don't notice. The closer the outcome, the louder the catastrophizing. Think about how the spiral always intensifies in the last hour, not the first week. The first week of waiting is calm. The night before the result is unbearable. That's not anxiety being irrational. That's your brain accurately calculating something. The cost of being wrong this close to the line is at its peak. The real-world implication is that you're not catastrophizing because you don't believe in good outcomes. You're catastrophizing because you do, and your system is trying to soften the landing. So if you've spent years being told you're a pessimist, that you're negative, that you should just think positively and trust the process, that you ruin good things by anticipating the worst, that you self-sabotage, that you don't let yourself enjoy anything, none of that was actually what was happening.
You weren't being negative. You weren't catastrophizing because you're broken. You were running a pattern your system built. It learned somewhere that hoping out loud could hurt you, so it taught itself to brace first and feel later. You learned that the part that hurt wasn't the bad outcome. It was the hope you had right before it. So your brain, trying to protect you, started catastrophizing right before things worked out, because that's the exact moment hope is highest, and the fall would be hardest. You weren't being negative. You were rehearsing the loss so it couldn't ambush you. That's not pessimism. That's a survival pattern doing exactly what it was built to do. The real pattern is this. Defensive pessimism doesn't track how likely something is to fail. It tracks how much you'd lose if it did. The bigger the hope, the louder the rehearsal, which is why this pattern almost always fires right before the moments that actually matter. The job, the relationship, the chance you've been quietly wanting for years.
The second rule is that the system was never trying to make you suffer. It was trying to make sure you survived the suffering you'd already learned could come. It's not predicting the future, it's protecting the part of you that once hoped and lost, the part that didn't have anyone to land softly into afterwards. Next time the spiral starts in the last hour before the thing, notice what it actually is. Not a forecast, a flinch. You weren't rehearsing the loss because you didn't believe in the win, you were rehearsing it because some part of you did. Tell me in the comments, is your catastrophizing loudest right before good things or right after them? If this explains something you've never had words for, subscribe. That's what every video on this channel is trying to do. Next, we're going to look at why some people only fully relax once something has already gone wrong and what that pattern is actually doing.